Okay, right then, Leah. So the professional discussion will be based on session 3 observation. The session is now recording, and we're going to use this to map in against the criteria against adaptability, professionalism, communication skills, interpersonal skills, and some stakeholder information as well. So let's just work through. So can you give me any examples, Leah, of when you've had to accept and deal with changing priorities, both to your own job role and for the organisation?
I've had to accept the change of us taking over our own cloths and products, so that we have to sign them out ourselves and we have to sign them in if needed.
Okay, so that's been a change in policy,
Yeah.
presumably, or normal operating procedure.
Yes.
Any changes to the organisation, Leah, as well? Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world at the moment with the Ukraine. We're seeing a lot of prices of things are going up. Has price increase and cost of living, things like that, has that had a knock-on effect to your business at all with products that you're buying?
Yes. So with the petrol increase, we obviously drive house to house.
Yeah.
So we've had to up the petrol allowance for the employees so that they can easily live and drive.
Yeah.
Just make it fair, really.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so that's a lot of this is cause and effect at the moment, and you'll find this in when you do the PESEL document as well, that there's lots of different external factors and environmental factors that can affect a business, political, social, environmental, economic, like we're going through at the moment. But it's important to accept that and be positive and take that in a constructive way, and that you're going to move forward, and you can reassure your team that you're going to do that. You've also demonstrated that you've taken steps to look after your staff to give them more petrol as well, which is good. Okay, with regard to professionalism, Leah, so acting as a role model, I know that we've spoken before about how you try to act as a role model for the rest of your staff. In what ways do you think you can demonstrate that, and you can act as a role model towards other people within your business?
By respecting the customers and the employees, the productivity and the contribution that I put into the business will have an effect as they will see it. Learning different cultures.
Yeah.
How you dress, your body language, and how you speak.
That's it. So all of these, you're becoming an advocate for the business. So you're representing the business. So you need to create a positive image.
Yeah.
With this. So that might be if you're wearing uniform, always making sure that your uniform is clean and you're well presented and turning up, because it sets a precedent, and it's how, in line with the mission and the company values that we spoke about a little bit earlier, it's how your business wants to be perceived. And then that should be, it is absolutely. And then your customers will take note of that.
Yeah.
And have a perceived image of the company. But not only that, but also internal staff that you work with, you're setting a precedent and setting an example for them as well. Okay, so we know that you behave in a professional way, you're well presented, you respect others, you encourage diversity and inclusion within your company, Leah. You probably work with a range of different people, kind of younger, more senior, different backgrounds, different religions, maybe different belief systems. So it's important to be respectful and have a very welcoming, accepting team culture and team dynamic for that. Okay. Next one is, are you aware that you have to adhere to your organisation's code of conduct for the use of social media, Leah? So I don't know whether your company has social media or not.
Yeah, but they only have access to it.
Okay, so we know that you've got, so your company has a Facebook page, and that's how most of your clients get in touch.
Yes.
So we've looked at that. Somewhere in if you've got a staff handbook, for example, there might be something within that just to say you can't share any like company information on your own personal Facebook or social media accounts.
Can't share photos of the clients' houses.
Perfect. So there we go. So you know that that's there, and
Yeah.
you know why you should adhere to it and how to adhere to it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next is interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills might be planning and organisation, but also how you liaise and how you build relationships with the people that you work with and build rapport with them. Can you think of an example of where you've had to do that, where you've had to build a rapport and a relationship with maybe an internal customer, like a new member of staff, but also with maybe a new customer, with an external stakeholder or customer, like a client or supplier?
Yeah, so with training, I have to make sure I remain a positive relationship with the staff that I work with.
Yeah.
And with the clients as well, we always have a positive relationship with them, just because it gives a bit of a family and like a warming welcome with us, so we're not a stranger in their home.
Yeah. So how would you say that you go about that? Yeah. What approach do you take to try and build rapport with them?
Respectful manner.
Yeah. And I guess the more time you spend with each other, and the more information you share with each other, the more you can understand how each other works, and then from that you can develop a very positive working relationship.
Yeah.
It's the same as developing relationships and building relationships with people that you work with.
Yeah.
The more time you spend with them, the more information they'll give you, and so after a while you can, you're really treating them, and you get to know what motivates them as a person and what they're like as a person, not just an employee.
Yeah.
And that in turn will help you manage them accordingly, because you might have to manage people in different ways.
Yeah.
People have different learning styles. They like to be managed in different ways. So it helps you definitely as a manager, and from somebody who trains people and staff. That's really important for you to understand how you can kind of develop your own coaching skills to meet the needs of the people that you work with as well. Can you think of an example, Leah, where you've had to demonstrate influence or challenge people appropriately? Now, what that means is, have you identified any policies or processes that you feel might have been improved, and how have you gone about that? Have you gone to your line manager to discuss it and think, I've established this need of the business, so we need to take care of it? Or any examples like that at all?
Yes. So when we were buying the products, we didn't have a signing out system, and they were going quite fast. So I said, is there any way we could do a signing out system, so we know who's taken them, how many we started with, and then how much they're going, so then we can base that on how many products we need to buy for next time, and it has helped a lot.
Excellent. That would be that example that you've just given, Leah, will be an excellent example for your project.
Okay.
So I'd keep that in mind for your project work and your project proposal. Okay. Next, Leah, will be communication. So communication and different communication styles: verbal communication, face-to-face, over the phone, maybe any written communication like emails, audits or reports, digital platforms that you might use if you have WhatsApp between you and your cleaners, for example, or messages. Can you just explain to me what different communication styles you use within your job role and why you think they're important?
So on messages, we have to be if it's an elder person messaging us, then they can struggle with technology sometimes. So we have to make sure that we make it as simple as possible and as easy. And sometimes most of them like speaking on the phone. So we also respect that. And then face to face, we do that when we're mostly in the client's houses, or if they are wanting a clean, then we can go and view it and speak face to face instead about it rather than on the phone.
Okay, excellent. So 2 good examples there: face-to-face communication with the client. You're probably working with staff as well every day, so communicating face-to-face. You can also take into account, and what you've described there, Leah, is using appropriate channels for communication effectively. So you've established that more senior clients might want to liaise and talk to you over the phone a little bit more rather than message. So that's you're using appropriate styles, and you're identifying the client needs, and adapting your own approach to meet those, which is really nice. Do you use any digital platforms at all? Any message systems of messages, WhatsApp or anything like that?
WhatsApp and Messenger and iMessage, they're the main one.
So, and that's between the staff?
Between the staff and the customers. Okay,
so you're keeping an ongoing communication flow of information going all the time?
Yes.
Excellent. Do you, I know that you field questions, Leah, from inside your organisation, so you do a lot of training for new staff. So do you ever get, could you give me an example of the kind of questions that you might get asked by your line manager or another member of staff?
About the person I'm training?
About anything. So just an example of any questions that you might get asked.
I can get asked how their standard is doing.
Yeah.
So if that's time or just how they're cleaning.
Okay.
I get asked how they are as a person in the respectful manner if they are showing us. Yeah, that's it really.
Okay. And do you ever get asked any questions from clients or from suppliers or external stakeholders at all?
Clients, yeah, we get asked bits and bobs about the cleans, how much X amount is, and asking us if we can do something else in that job rather than what they usually have.
Okay. So if there's anything extra, you can liaise with them on that, and then liaise with your own team as how you're going to time manage that process.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So you've got different. You mentioned at the start you've got a few commercial properties that you work with, Leah, but it's mainly residential.
Yeah. There's one community.
Okay. So you've got practical knowledge of how you manage stakeholders and your relationships to the organisation. So is it yourself that deals directly with clients?
No.
So that will be, who would that be within your company?
The manager, the owner, sorry.
The owner. And then you'll then liaise with them and have meetings and communication with them to...
Yes, I do sometimes have face-to-face with the clients when I'm there, but it's not over communication online or anything. Okay,
excellent. So your relationship with those external customers and clients isn't necessarily always direct. So sometimes you'll be in direct communication with them. Sometimes it will go directly to the owner. You'll then meet with the owner and they'll give you the information and details required.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Is it all so presumably it's all properties and stakeholders are within the UK, Leah, presumably for your company. You don't deal or liaise with any from outside the UK.
Yeah.
And lastly, Leah, when dealing with suppliers and all different organisations that you deal with, how do you engage and how do you foster relationships with them? So when you first take on board a client, what's your initial process? How might you contact them to get to know what they want and find out exactly how you can tailor your service to them?
So sometimes we go to the house to see how long the clean will take, and then they give us some rooms to either leave out if they want a set time slot. So if they only want a 2-hour, then they can leave some rooms out to focus on the ones that they mainly need doing. And then throughout their cleans, they get told the time slots which they can have. They then message us which one they like, and then we do it from that.
Okay, excellent. So the key thing here in summary, I guess, Leah, is how you firstly build and then develop relationships with both internal staff by spending time with them, but also with clients as well. Because again, the more you get to know clients, the more you'll get to know how they like to work.
Yeah.
So it's whether you have any initial meetings with them to learn if there's anything specific that they like doing, or there's a way that they like things doing. And then you can very much tailor your customer service to them as well. Okay, excellent. And that's presume that's ongoing as well. So once you've established that, you can make that an ongoing communication so there's a flow of feedback both ways, so you can develop that relationship over time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, right. That concludes all the criteria here. So I'm just going to stop the recording now.